Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Simon. The set of acrylics I ordered arrived, and although I'm not that keen to paint Simon because I like the way the clay is in its natural state, I do feel I should paint him as the base area with all the blankets and scarves needs a bit of colour. It just looks like a lump of colourless noodles at the moment. I'll be doing most of the painting off camera using as many colours as I can, not because I think it will look good, but basically glazing and layering to get some experience with painting on clay. Some parts of the base have texture, so I'm seeing how I can emphasize that with the paint. I did also start sanding down the areas that I repaired on his face, but I'm not going to paint that. I'd rather be able to salvage his face for reuse later on another version if I want to. Now here's the follow-on story behind this project. When we asked the art teacher in school where did she get the idea for making something by combining different animals, she said it was this guy, Walter Battis, who is a South African artist. For some reason I thought his surname was pronounced Battis. I asked ChatGPT how to pronounce it properly and it assured me Battis was correct.
Yes, that's correct. Walter Battis's surname is pronounced like bat, as in a flying bat or a cricket baseball bat, and is, which rhymes with piss.
There is a museum dedicated to Walter in Somerset East, which is a very small, quaint and beautiful part of South Africa. If you're anywhere near here, maybe plan for a visit. They have a lot of his artworks on display and the curator is super friendly and knowledgeable. And the Jarvett Art Centre at the University of Pretoria also includes some of his pieces in its collection, and that's on the side of South Africa if you're not familiar. Walter has an extensive collection of artworks that's been influenced by pretty much everything from African rock art all the way through to the likes of Pablo Picasso. Walter did end up meeting Picasso in 1949 when exhibiting at the International Art Club in Italy. I will put links in the description if you want to dive a bit deeper into this artist or just have a look through his art. Now, one of his concepts, the island of Fook, was an imaginative fictional island and creative philosophy developed by Walter in the 1970s. He created maps, coins, stamps, a language. There was even a driver's license and passport which he used to travel around the States. Fook Island is where Battis made new creatures by blending features of real animals together. While the concept of world creation is not new, Walter's approach keeps it simple and easy for anyone to join in the process of making something. I like the idea of making characters that come from an instance or collections of memories. So the concept for Simon's face came to me when a friend asked if I had seen an episode of Darkwing Duck where they had a weremoose in it. I hadn't seen this episode but kept wondering if it was a weremoose as in, instead of werewolves there's a moose running around turning into monsters at night. Or is there a weremoose and a not-so-aware moose, like one's alert and the other isn't? Or is it like the Great Moose Awakening? But it turns out it's just a special suit that Darkwing wears to enhance his abilities. The horse side of Simon is just because they are a favourite animal of mine, and I remember the first time I ever saw one. I hadn't been walking for very long, so I'm guessing I must have been about age 3 or 4 years old. But slowly but surely as I started to learn about all the animals, I was convinced that if I didn't get to ride a horse in this lifetime, I would surely get to ride a moose. I was very unimpressed when I found out we didn't have moose in South Africa, and my alternatives would be either riding a donkey or an ostrich. Unpacking Simon is a bit bigger than face value, so there is a double meaning to him collecting threads. Yes, it's the threads from blankets, but it's also been collecting all these little bits of information or streams of conversation that add to the moment. I like to keep tabs on characters I'm doing by creating simple character sheets like this one. So for Simon, his common name, Moose Meese. He comes from the region of So Far Away, and he eats chocolates and mint. And like I described in the first video, he uses his long legs to sort of collect all the fluffy materials to use as bedding later on. Simon tends to highlight way shrines as he passes them, and when you come across a way shrine, it generally leads to a whole lot of deja vu. Way shrines are areas where islands overlap each other, giving Simon the ability to port from one island to another. This can be catastrophic for other islanders that are standing in the way. If you come across a nest built by Simon, it's best just to leave it alone. If Simon ports back in, he's like a pack mule that doesn't know how to pack, so he'll just end up hitting you with a whole lot of baggage that nobody can make heads or tails out of. It gets very confusing. During the early months of March, Simon enters breeding season, so his hometown usually celebrate by hosting the Festival of Simonella. One thing that did become pretty obvious when I started Simon was needing to keep ideas very flexible. Until I'm more familiar with clay, what I think I can make and what I can actually make are not always going to be aligned, so I do the character sheet last. But here is Simon and how I'm going to leave him. The base has some parts where there's just one coat of bright colour, and then I practice layering other colours in different sections. So his body wrap got a few coats of paint, but his side flaps and carry bag has just got a light wash, just to see how the colour would turn out. I'll let him just stew for a bit, because now that he's painted I'm thinking it wouldn't look so bad if I just changed the colour scheme of him, but it is a bit of a fair job to get the brush into all the little twists and turns, so at the moment I think I've spent enough time on this. Overall I'm happy with the learning curve, and it's been a good sort of reference point for future projects. You know, later on if I decide I want to paint something blue, I can always come back and see, wow, okay, hang on, the blue is very bright here. Am I going to tone it down? Whatever, you know. But for the moment I just want to get some more practice in using acrylics to get familiar with paint again. There's a few paintings that I'd like to try as well, so I'll probably do one of those next. I just want to cross some of the stuff off my bucket list for now. But I hope these videos have given you some inspiration to try something different, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.